Greetings and salutations, all you brothers and sisters. Yeah, I want to welcome you to another episode of Getting Stoned. Yeah, with your host, Mr. Stone Petoskey, coming at you live from Mother Earth. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. I love you. I offer you my deepest gratitude for taking the time to stop on by and give this little humble show a listen. We just come on here and we just talk a little bit of story. We try to connect. Connection, y'all. Connection. It's integral for the human spirit, body, mind. Yeah. Connection. Yeah. You know, I was thinking today, sometimes, you know, we're looking for the shiny thing, you know, the sparkly thing, the impressive thing, I don't know, the famous thing, the thing that everyone else has got that we want. We're looking for that something. Yeah. Well, my experience has been that whatever it is that you are looking for, you sure as fuck ain't gonna find it out there in the world. Go ahead and go look. I mean, hell, you know, ain't stopping me. You can't stop human beings from doing that. Hell, that's probably, seems to me, part of why we're even here, is to go looking around with our eyes and our ears and our nose and our mouths and our tongues. Yes, tapping into the sensations and the vibrations and the elevations and the deviations and the lessons to be learned. Yeah, so you can keep on looking. All I'm saying is, at some point, all that you are looking for will remain ethereal. It will slip through your fingers right when you think you found it. Yeah. Because when it's all said and done, y'all, whatever you are looking for is only and truly going to be found within. It's always there. Always. Right there within. And it might not be shiny, it might not be sparkly, it might not be fancy, it might not be pretty, it might not be famous, it might not be bright, it might not be, ooh, so soft to the touch. It might not be loud. It might not be all of the things that you thought it might be. But I promise you, it's inside you. It always has been, and it always will be. And in that way, you are God. You are God. Yes. All is that. Oh, we call it Allah, we call it Yahweh, we call it source, we call it consciousness, we call it love, we call it no thingness. What else are we going to call it? Jesus? I don't know. We're going to call it Buddha? Maybe Muhammad. How about that? I don't know. Labels is what humans do. Give it a name. But what I'm talking about is nameless. Can't pin the tail on that donkey. No. But it's right there within you. You can't grasp it, of course. And like I said, you can't name it. But it's there. It's really not even an it, you know. Language just doesn't even kind of get to it, really. You can't even. The words are just like that finger that's pointing at the moon. It ain't the motherfucking moon, it's the finger pointing at it. You know what I'm saying? The moon, you can't even. It's like trying to describe what I'm trying to describe, and you can't describe it. But we try anyway. You know, hey, well, you know, we got these tongues and these mouths and these ears and these eyes and these brains, and what the hell are we supposed to do with it? We supposed to get out there and play. Yeah. Explore what it means to be alive. Anyways, I could go rambling on and on and on, and I don't see no point doing that because I done said enough already. So thank you so much again for being here. I appreciate all y'all. I'm sending you a big hug. Oh, feel that hug. Yeah, we are officially now into summer here in this part of the world. And it's hot, and it feels good. Make you want to take your clothes off and get jumping in the lake, or the ocean, or hell, I'd even jump in a pond or a river if I needed to cool off. Nothing quite like that. Yeah. Enjoy this summer season, y'all. Yeah, make love, not war. Yeah. All right. So we're going to read from one of my favorite books today. I've read this book so many times I lost track. I kind of like to try to just sit down and read it once a year. But anyways, this is a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And, you know, it's a real well-known book. If you don't know it, then man, get on out there and check it out. Pick up a copy and read it. It's some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we're going to read here for a few minutes from this fine gift from Paulo. On the third day, the chief met with his officers. He called the alchemist to the meeting and he said, "Let's go see the boy who turns himself into the wind." "Let's," the alchemist answered. The boy took them to the cliff where he had been on the previous day. He told them all to be seated. "It's going to take a while," the boy said. "We're in no hurry," the chief answered. "We are men of the desert." The boy looked out at the horizon. There were mountains in the distance. There were dunes, rocks, and plants that insisted on living where survival seemed impossible. There was the desert that he had wandered for many months. Despite all that time, he only knew a small part of it. Within that small part, he had found an Englishman, caravans, travel wars, and an oasis with 50,000 palm trees and 300 wells. "What do you want here today?" the desert asked him. "Didn't you spend enough time looking at me yesterday?" "Somewhere you are holding the person I love," the boy said. "So when I look out over your sands, I am looking at her. I want to return to her, and I need your help so that I can turn myself into the wind." "What is love?" the desert asked. "Love is the falcon's flight over your souls. Because for him, you are a green field from which he always returns with game. He knows your rocks, your dunes, and your mountains, and you are generous to him. The falcon's beak carries bits of me, myself," the desert said. "For years I care for his game, feeding it with the little water that I have. And then I show him where the game is. And one day, as I enjoy the fact that his game thrives on my surface, the the falcon dives out of the sky and takes away what I've created. But that's why you created the game in the first place, the boy answered. To nourish the falcon, and the falcon then nourishes man. And eventually, man will nourish your sands, where the game will once again flourish. That's how the world goes. So is that what love is? Yes, that's what love is. It's what makes the game become the falcon become man, and man in his turn the desert. It's what turns lead into gold and makes the gold return to the earth. I don't understand what you're talking about, the desert said. But you can at least understand that somewhere in your sands there is a woman waiting for me. And that's why I have to turn myself into the wind. The desert didn't answer him for a few moments. Then it told him, I'll give you my sands to help the wind blow. But alone, I can't do anything. You have to ask for help from the wind. A breeze began to blow. The tribesmen watched the boy from a distance, talking among themselves in a language that the boy couldn't understand. The alchemist smiled. The wind approached the boy and touched his face. It knew of the boy's talk with the desert because the winds know everything. They blow across the world without a birthplace and with no place to die. Help me, the boy said. One day you carried the voice of my loved one to me. Who taught you to speak the language of the desert and the wind? My heart, answered the boy. The wind has many names. In that part of the world, it was called the Sirocco, because it brought moisture from the oceans to the east. In the distant land the boy came from, they called it the Levanter, because they believed that it brought with it the sands of the desert and the screams of the Moorish wars. Perhaps in places beyond the pastures where his sheep lived, men thought that the wind came from Andalusia. But actually, the wind came from no place at all, nor did it go to any place. That's why it was stronger than the desert. One might one day plant trees in the desert and even raise sheep there, but never would they harness the wind. You can't be the wind said. We're two very different things. That's not true, the boy said. I learned the alchemist's secrets in my travels. I have inside me the winds, the deserts, the oceans, the stars, and everything created in the universe. We were all made by the same hand, and we have the same soul. I want to be like you, able to reach every corner of the world, across the seas, blow away the sands that cover my treasure, and carry the voice of the woman I love. I heard what you were talking about the other day with the alchemist, the wind said. He said that everything has its own personal legend. But people can't turn themselves into the wind. Just teach me to be the wind for a few moments, the boy said, so you and I can talk about the limitless possibilities of people and the winds. The wind's curiosity was aroused, something that had never happened before. It wanted to talk about those things, but it didn't know how to turn a man into the wind. And look how many things the wind already knew how to do. It created deserts, sank ships, felled entire forests, and blew through cities filled with music and strange noises. It felt that it had no limits. Yet here was a boy saying that there were other things the wind should be able to do. This is what we call love, the boy said, seeing that the wind was close to granting what he requested. When you are loved, you can do anything in creation. When you are loved, there's no need at all to understand what's happening because everything happens within you. And even men can turn themselves into the wind. as long as the wind helps, of course. The wind was being a proud being, and it was becoming irritated with what the boy was saying. It commenced to blow the harder, rising the desert sands. But finally, it had to recognize that even its own way around the world, it didn't know how to turn a man into the wind. And it knew nothing about love. In my travels around the world, I've often seen people speaking of love and looking toward the heavens, the wind said, furious at having to acknowledge its own limitations. Maybe it's better to ask heaven. Well then, help me to do that, the boy said. Fill this place with a sandstorm so strong that it blots out the sun. Then I can look to heaven without blinding myself. So the wind blew with all its strength, and the sky was filled with sand. The sun was turned into a golden disk. At the camp, it was difficult to see anything. The men of the desert were already familiar with that wind. They called it the Simon, and it was worse than a storm at sea. Their horses cried out, and all their weapons were filled with sand. On the heights, one of the commanders turned to the chief and said, "Maybe we had better end this." They could barely see the boy. Their faces were covered with the blue cloths, and their eyes showed fear. "Let's stop this," another commander said. "I want to see the greatness of Allah," the chief said with respect. "I want to see how a man turns himself into the wind." But he made a mental note of the names of the two men who had expressed their fear. As soon as the wind stopped, he was going to remove them from their commands, because true men of the desert are not afraid. "The wind told me that you know about love," the boy said to the sun. "If you know about love, you must also know about the soul of the world, because it's made of love." "From where am I?" the sun said. "I can see the soul of the world. It communicates with my soul, and together we cause the plants to grow and the sheep to seek out shade. From where I am, and I'm a long way from the earth, I learned how to love. I know that if I came even a little bit closer to the earth, everything there would die, and the soul of the world would no longer exist. So we contemplate each other, and we want each other, and I give it life and warmth, and it gives me my reason for living." "So you know about love," the boy said. "And I know the soul of the world, because we have talked at great length to each other during this endless trip through the universe. It tells me that its greatest problem is that, up until now, only the minerals and vegetables understand that all things are one. That there's no need for iron to be the same as copper, or copper the same as gold. Each performs its own exact function as a unique being, and everything would be a symphony of peace if the hand that wrote all this had stopped on the 5th day of creation. But there was a 6th day," the sun went on. "You are wise because you observe everything from a distance," the boy said. "But you don't know about love. If there hadn't been a 6th day, man would not exist. Copper would always be just copper and lead just lead. It's true that everything has its personal legend, but one day that personal legend will be realized. So each thing has to transform itself into something better and to acquire a new personal legend, until someday the soul of the world becomes one thing only." The sun thought about that and decided to shine more brightly. The wind, which was enjoying the conversation, started to blow with greater force so that the sun would not blind the boy. "This is why alchemy exists," the boy said, "so that everyone will search for his treasure, find it, and then want to be better than he was in his former life. Lead will play its role until the world has no further need for lead, and then lead will have to turn itself into gold. That's what alchemists do. They show that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." "Well, why did you say that I don't know about love?" the sun asked the boy. "Because it's not love to be static like the desert, nor is it love to roam the world like the wind, and it's not love to see everything from a distance like you do. Love is the force that transforms and improves the soul of the world. When I first reached through to it, I thought the soul of the world was perfect. But later, I could see that it was like other aspects of creation, and it had its own passions and wars. It is we who nourish the soul of the world, and the world we live in will be either better or worse, depending upon whether we become better or worse. And that's where the power of love comes in. Because when we love, we strive always to become better than we are." "So, what do you want of me?" the sun asked. "I want you to help me turn myself into the wind," the boy answered. "Nature knows me as the wisest being in creation, but I don't know how to turn you into the wind." "Then whom should I ask?" The sun thought for a moment. The wind was listening closely and wanted to tell every corner of the world that the sun's wisdom had its limitations, that it was unable to deal with this boy who spoke the language of the world. "Speak to the hand that wrote it all," said the sun. The wind screamed with delight and blew harder than ever. The tents were being blown from their ties to the earth, and the animals were being freed from their tethers. On the cliff, the men clutched at each other as they sought to keep from being blown away. The boy turned to the hand that wrote it all. As he did so, he sensed that the universe had fallen silent, and he decided not to speak. A current of love rushed from his heart, and the boy began to pray. It was a prayer that he had never said before, because it was a prayer without words or pleas. His prayer didn't give thanks for his sheep having found new pastures. It didn't ask that the boy be able to sell more crystal. And it didn't beseech that the woman he had met continue to await his return. In silence, the boy understood that the desert, the wind, and the sun were also trying to understand the signs written by the hand, and were seeking to follow their paths and to understand what had been written on a single emerald. He saw that omens were scattered throughout the earth and in space, and that there was no reason or significance attached to their appearance. He could see that not the deserts, nor the winds, nor the sun, nor people knew why they had been created, but that the hand had a reason for all of this, and that only the hand could perform miracles or transform the sea into a desert, or a man into the wind. Because only the hand understood that it was a larger design that had moved the universe to the point at which 6 days of creation had evolved into a masterwork. The boy reached through to the soul of the world and saw that it was a part of the soul of God. And he saw that the soul of God was his own soul, and that he, a boy, could perform The Alchemist. Paulo Coelho. Coelho. Paulo. Thank you, brother. I love this book. It's a masterpiece. Oh, it's so fun to read. I hope y'all dug that. Did I say thank you? I know I said thank you, so I'm gonna say it again anyways. Thank you so much for being here. My gratitude is most high. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you know how much you are loved, how lovable you are, how precious, how you're like a shining star. Indeed. All right, let's do a tune here before we head on out. This is by Amos Lee. It's called Worry No More. Even if it don't come true, dreaming is what dreamers do. Heaven's keys on green and blue are never gray. Even if it all goes bust, your pretty pearls all fade to rust. Angels' wings to angels' dust. Every day, worry no more. Yeah, worry no more. There's an open door for you. Worry no more. Yeah, worry no more. There's an open door for you. When you're walking through the clouds, bottles break on angry crowds. Lion tamers can't be found anywhere. Listening to the sound of miles, Spanish sketches, playground smiles, crowded streets and empty vibes for all to see. Worry no more. Yeah, worry no more. There's an open door for you. Yeah, worry no more. Hey, worry no more. There's an open door for you. Keep climbing. Keep climbing. Keep climbing. Keep climbing. Worry no more. Hey, worry no more. There's an open door for you. Worry no more. Hey, worry no more. There's an open door for you. There's an open door for you. There's an open door for you. Worry no more, y'all. There's an open door for you. Yeah. Amos Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he's a hell of a songwriter, hell of a performer. Thank you, brother, for the beautiful music that you brought to this world. I certainly appreciate it myself. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, this is it. Wrapping up another show. Thank you again so much for being here. So much love and light I send out to all y'all. Yes. Make it a beautiful day. And until next time, this is Storm Bataski saying, peace.